Good evening, everybody. Happy Sunday. My name is Karli Barnett. We're here at the First Alert Desk, and we want to give you a look at some of your top news stories and weather that we are covering today. First Alert meteorologist Cutter Martin is going to be joining us here in just a few minutes, but in the meantime, I want to give you an update on where some of our crews stand, as well as what we can expect for a little bit later tonight. We hope you join Tori Cooper and I at 6:30 on CBS. You can join us again at 11 on CBS, or before that at 9 and 10 on Peachtree TV. You can also watch our newscast streaming live, of course, and if you're watching us now, you probably already know that information, but always good to keep everyone posted of all the ways that they can access Atlanta News First or the First Alert Desk. So we want to go right into some of the stories that we are working on. The whole point of this First Alert Desk is to sort of give you almost a behind-the-scenes look at our process, why we're choosing those stories for today, where everyone's headed, the elements that we've gathered. So sometimes a reporter may start out on one story and then we might regroup for later. So reporter Asia Wilson, she was covering one story that I'm going to get to in just a minute, but I want to tell you what she's going to be covering tonight as a little bit of a preview. So since the U.S. Supreme Court recently barred affirmative action in college admissions, Ebony Austin, she is the chef at Nouveau Bar and Grill, and so she is shining a light on the importance of HBCUs, and they are going to be awarding some scholarships tonight, and there's going to be an event surrounding that, so Asia is going to be attending that. She is going to be speaking with those who are receiving those scholarships. And again, this is because of this recent Supreme Court decision. A local chef is trying to give back to the community, give back to some of these students, and really help out those who want to attend an HBCU. So Asia is going to be working on that. But she also was busy at this scene earlier. I'm going to pull up this video for you now. This was South Olympian Way. And this was in regards to a SWAT situation. The good news is, as of now, there is at least some sense of normalcy that's starting to return. This was in a southwest Atlanta neighborhood. And police were called to South Olympian Way, Southwest. And Atlanta police say it all started as a dispute involving a weapon, and later on, shots were fired. They got a call a little before 9:30 this morning. They say 4 people were inside the home at the time, including the suspect, who we are told was armed. And we spoke to a woman who says she lives inside the home. She didn't want to be on camera, but tells us everyone inside is related, including her son and her 2 grandchildren. And this person said it all stems from the last 3 days, adding that police were also called yesterday. So here's what she had to say.
I'm just the older sister of the person they're trying to find out if she's involved with the allegations or what is being recorded. It's an ongoing situation, family tied, but there are outside influences that I believe that is the mechanism of what's causing the problem. So that I am not aware of who.
So the good news, like we said, is this situation has been resolved. The neighborhood is finally quiet, but certainly things were very scary there for the last couple of hours. Asia Wilson was live on the scene for us there, and now that police have handled that, Atlanta police have handled the situation, she is moving on to this other story that I told you about right in the beginning. And something else that we've been working on, reporter Yasmina Alston is bringing us the latest on this. Now, I was outside actually of the Fulton County Jail on Friday. We had heard reports of something going on there, and we saw 2 deputies that were actually blocking the entrance to the jail where the media or really any other visitors would normally enter to visit. It was on Friday that we learned that there had been a power issue that they said was resolved. And then around 6:30, I received another email from the Fulton County Jail saying that there was another power issue they were working to resolve and that they would not be receiving any inmates until they got the solution figured out. Now, we have learned that power has since been restored. However, there are still concerns with the air conditioning. And that was something that Yasmina was speaking to some people who were actually walking out of the Fulton County Jail had to say. We're going to play some sound from them in just a moment, but If you've been following our coverage here at Atlanta News First, I know my co-anchor Tori Cooper talked about this just a little bit earlier. There have been a series of issues, a series of concerns, we should say, regarding the jail, in fact, prompting a federal investigation. So this is now the latest in a series of stories that we have done regarding conditions there. So we are told that the power was knocked out during Friday's storms, and as of earlier, the air conditioning is not working. We were working to get an update from those at the jail as far as where the status stands, but at this time, as far as we know, there is still no air conditioning there, meaning it's been 2 full days now without AC. Now we're told a portable chiller truck has been cooling some parts of the building, and former inmates who stayed there over the last 24 hours say it is extremely hot inside. Sheriff Pat Labat acknowledged in a statement that they are operating under incredibly difficult circumstances that are creating uncomfortable conditions for the inmates and the staff. During the initial outage, 3 inmate medical emergencies were reported and treated. People who were released today say the situation was handled poorly. I'm going to pull up their sound for you right now.
I mean, it's body heat. All of our temperatures are right at 100. You got 30 of us in there with no air conditioning, no ventilation. That's cruel and inhumane, in my opinion. I wouldn't treat my dog like that.
See how hot it is out here now? Man, you got like 40 folks in one cell, closed in. It's so hot, man.
So these individuals experienced those conditions firsthand. We're told part of the work is removing a downed tree that damaged a backup propane tank before they can restart the main air conditioning system. So sort of a series of events that brought us to this point, but as of right now, those who are in the Fulton County Jail, many are dealing with a lack of air conditioning tonight. And again, this issue stemming from the storms that we had Friday night, which has been 2 full days at this point. Now, of course, we always like to tell you about different things going on in the community. This is the weekend, and I know we tell you about these news stories, but we also want to keep it light, too. We want to tell you about some things going on in your community. And one of those things is the Puerto Rican Music and Heritage Festival. This is actually taking place tonight at Truist Park. So maybe you're headed out that way here pretty soon. So this is the largest Puerto Rican food and music festival in the state. It is happening right now. More than 1,500 guests were expected to attend, and it's all for a very good cause. It's actually the 9th year that this has taken place. It's grown every year since, organizers tell us. The festival celebrates the heritage of Puerto Rico with traditional dishes, live music. There are 13 chefs. 6 are from Puerto Rico, cooking up authentic staples. The event is all thanks to the organization Ser Familia, a nonprofit providing family, social and mental health services to the Latino community in 31 counties all across Georgia. Here's more about the charitable efforts that they are hoping to contribute to tonight.
We're seeing many more instances of abuse in children, kids with suicidal ideation. So we need certainly many more resources to help our children and youth, recover from, everything that the pandemic brought. So this festival allows our familia to do more for our kids.
So certainly they're keeping a focus on children, helping children who might be struggling with their mental health, especially in light of what we dealt with over those years of the pandemic. So 1,500 people expected to be out there, a lot of great food, a lot of great music. But no doubt there's probably going to be some heat outside. We're going to take you to this view. It's a beautiful view, plenty of sunshine, and that sunshine is just going to keep on coming. The good news is it's going to be pretty clear, but we definitely need to be prepared for the heat, Cutter.
Yeah, good for the pool plans, lake plans, river plans, maybe shooting the hooch. Great weather for that. But for everyone else, especially if you don't have the office job, if you are out and about, it is going to be a toasty week ahead, thanks in large part to all that sunshine you're looking at outside right now. Again, we have more on the way this evening. Not completely dry out there. A couple of isolated showers still roaming the area. So it's a gradual transition back into this weather pattern that includes hotter temperatures eventually greater humidity and a lower chance of rain. So again, thank you for tuning in, for watching. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Cutter Martin. We're going to talk about how this evening is shaping up, of your hour-by-hour forecast, and of course a closer look at what is really shaping up to be a hot week across not just North Georgia. You've already heard the headlines, and we've talked a lot about the big heat off to our west and to our southwest, and that heat will kind of briefly, at least temporarily, expand back into North Georgia and metro Atlanta. Starting with the big picture here, not hard to tell where high pressure is in control, and you can see that kind of counterclockwise, or clockwise rather, flow around a ridge of high pressure anchored over the southern plains, rain-free underneath that dome of sinking air. That's what high pressure is, hotter, drier weather. On the edge of this ridge, we still are managing to get a few showers popping up here across the southeast, including portions of North Georgia, not really in the city of Atlanta. Mountains mostly dry as well, but as we get to the southeast side of the metro on into middle Georgia, we still are seeing a few showers bubble up out there. Closest shower right now to the city of Atlanta is in northern Henry County. We're going to go ahead and swap radar modes really quick, give you a better look. And we'll zoom down in. This is north of McDonough. These showers developing pretty quickly here, not amounting to much. Nonetheless, brief heavy rain, maybe a couple rumbles of thunder with these as they move off to the south and to the southeast. The Flippin community, possibly the north side of McDonough, if they hold together within the next hour, could get just a bit of rain, not enough to ruin the evening plans. Nonetheless, not completely dry either. Moving out of the Zebulon community towards Barnesville, at least the north end of town, another shower. In fact, you can see this little boundary as we put radar back in motion. See that little, well, here, let me zoom in just a little more. Maybe you can see it. There we go. See that little boundary? Looks like a little line moving off to the north and the west right there. That's helping to fire off some showers and perhaps a couple weak thunderstorms here, moving generally to the south and east away from the city of Atlanta. But again, brief heavy rain for a few folks. Barnesville's 834, the Goggins community 837. If it holds together. Nonetheless, still mostly dry. Hour-by-hour forecast this evening. Back in the city of Atlanta, temperatures gradually cooling through the 80s, back into the upper 70s late this evening. And by tomorrow morning, we are completely dry, waking up to a lot of sunshine. Temperatures in the lower 70s inside I-285, the perimeter. Let's say mid to upper 60s, further outlying into upper 50s and lower 60s up the mountains, the higher elevation communities of far north and northeast Georgia. Here is that morning temperature layout. Again, no rain tomorrow morning. It's going to be a nice one considering how warm even our mornings are going to get by week's end. Enjoy that 71 in Atlanta. It'll be a while before we wake up to lower 70s after about Tuesday morning. 67 Gainesville, nice, comfortable, mostly sunny morning on Lake Lanier. 66 Covington, 66 LaGrange, 57 in Blairsville. Highest of elevation communities up in the mountains of North Georgia, a little cooler. Mid to upper 60s outside of the perimeter. Inside the perimeter, it's going to be hard to get below 70. Still fairly comfortable by late July standards in the city of Atlanta tomorrow morning with no rain in the forecast, not much of a fog risk. So we'll give you that green light on that Monday morning commute. It may be a Monday. We may be talking about the morning commute, but hey, at least the weather is cooperating, right? I want to remind you we're streaming across many platforms this evening. Kind of mention this about this time in every forecast. And if you have any weather questions, comments, concerns, even if you're watching on Roku, Amazon Fire, AtlantaNewsFirst.com, and the First Solar Weather app, Atlanta News First app, you can address any concerns you have with the forecast, ask your specific weather questions. If you have any plans, activities coming up, be happy to give you a most precise and specific forecast, and you can reach out. Atlanta News First on YouTube right now. Hello, Owen and Sharon. Hello to you. Owen watching from Atlanta and Sharon watching from North Carolina. North Carolina dealing with some heavy rain today outside of Carowinds and the Charlotte area. You're going to get a little hotter, though, too, as well, Sharon, as we get into the coming work week. Here's tomorrow's hour-by-hour forecast. Again, notice we're 85 by noon, but it's feeling like 88. High temperature tomorrow, 91, feeling like 93. So humidity, because it's not that great tomorrow, because the air is a little drier, it's not going to feel that much hotter than what the thermometer reads. Not much of a heat index temperature tomorrow. And that's not just in Atlanta. That's kind of across the board here. 91 Atlanta, feeling like 92. That's your max heat index temperature or so. Maybe 92, 93 is what it'll feel like. 90 in Gainesville, that's your heat index temperature, an average with a high of 89. Athens, 89, feeling like the lower 90s. Rome in the lower 90s, and it's feeling like the lower 90s. Newton topping out around 89, feeling close to 90. And, of course, the actual temperature close to 90, so not much of a difference between what it feels like and what the thermometer says tomorrow afternoon. A good day to hit the pool for all the students still on summer vacation. Of course, unfortunately, we know those summer days are numbered, so please do get outside and enjoy it. Your UV index tomorrow very high, 10 to 11, the extreme level, depending on where you are. So make sure you're applying and reapplying all of that sunscreen, staying hydrated, lots of sun. It's going to be a little toasty tomorrow. And speaking of summer and heat, let's talk tropics. We have an area of low pressure, Invest 95L, approaching the Caribbean, and they've been adjusting this with a lower risk over the past few days as the circulation just really hasn't consolidated very much. It's battling some dry air. In fact, a new update just coming in, a 30% chance of development, a low risk of development within the next 7 days. It was up to a medium risk earlier today, so they continue to lower that risk. And that's, of course, good news for interest in the Caribbean. Also watching Dawn, a hurricane yesterday, Category 1, now back to a tropical storm, and forecast to lose tropical characteristics pretty quickly here over the next 24 to 48 hours as it meanders, kind of moves through the North Atlantic, and no significant problems for anyone there. Of course, just shipping lanes and kind of losing that wind field just a bit over the next few days. So talking about heat, temperatures lower 90s tomorrow after a pleasant morning, mid-90s Tuesday, but a drier heat, not too bad. 96, a bit more humidity Wednesday, and then we kind of keep it hot, and humidity remains in the forecast as we round out the work week and head on into next weekend with temperatures in the mid to upper 90s every afternoon, and it will be feeling like it is in the upper 90s and lower 100s. Again, it's going to be pretty toasty out there. So make sure that you are staying hydrated, finding shade when you can for everyone that works outdoors. GDOT folks, lawn care folks, home builders, anyone outside. This week going to be kind of a nasty one. Probably the hottest stretch of weather we've had so far this summer season. In the city of Atlanta, North Georgia at least. Initially starts with low humidity. That'll do us a favor and won't make it feel much hotter than what the thermometer says. And, of course, it's already going to be hot, even just the flat temperature itself. But I think a more noticeably hot feel to the air, kind of a muggier, hotter pattern as we get into Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Chance of spotty storms, but models leaning drier, so we're going to keep that rain chance low. In fact, the next 10 days looking drier and hotter overall. So a reminder, we're kind of leaving the storms behind, heading into a drier, hotter weather pattern. You can always get a check of that forecast next 10 days at AtlantaNewsFirst.com and in the First Alert Weather app. Back with a fresh forecast, maybe some new data coming in here in just a bit. Atlanta News First on Peachtree TV at 9 p.m., 10 o'clock hour as well, and then we're back on WANF. Certainly some new data coming in by then. Don't anticipate any big changes to the forecast. Nonetheless, the latest data coming in, any alterations to the forecast, you can get it this evening. You can stream it wherever you're watching this digital newscast as well. And, of course, that forecast always available in the First Alert Weather app. We'll leave you with a nice look at Midtown. That's in the foreground there, the Buckhead area as well, and Midtown and downtown in the background. Shot of Atlanta. Have a nice evening. Last few hours of your Sunday. Heat is on the way this week. We'll be detailing that coming up in about 30 minutes.